Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. With the past couple of updates here within Warzone, they've made a pretty decent effort to buff some MW2 guns. They did a couple of overhauls across the board in multiplayer and Warzone to make it so that the MW2 weapons perform and behave a little bit more like MW3 weapons, with lower visual recoil, muzzle smoke, screen flash, and all sorts of stuff like that. And they're going to continue to update that over time, they've stated previously. But with some of these recent updates, a couple of MW2 weapons are actually creeping up more and more in the overall meta conversation. So today I wanted to go through and break down the top 5 best MW2 meta weapons we've currently got. So initially, for the most part, MW2 weapons are much more prevalent in the mid to long range meta. The close range meta is still pretty much just dominated by MW3 guns. There is one MW2 SMG though that is close to being right there, and that is the Vaznev. This thing's initial first couple of damage ranges are right there with some of the MW3 options. So, you know, a couple of buffs here and there, maybe a couple of nerfs to some MW3 guns. And this is one that truly could be in the direct mix of the top SMG choices. But for a close range option, I did want to include at least one in this video. The Vaznev has got to be my go-to. So initially for this setup here, I am going for the True Tac rear grip. Helps out that ADS speed and that sprint to fire. Just makes it a tad bit more aggressive, only hurts the recoil control a little bit, which is not a huge deal in the close range, and this is also a decently easy weapon to use as well. I do also go for the 45 round extended mag, very basic here. It's also the only extended mag option, so of course that's a no-brainer. I'm going for the DR6 hand stop as well. Movement benefits across the board here. General movement, strafe, ADS, sprint to fire, really helping out with mobility there. Sonic suppressor extends our effective damage range, which is very clutch, helps get that faster TTK out to a further range. And then also the cast one barrel is going to do more of the same there as well. So those two are pretty important for really allowing this thing to compete in the 10 to 15 meter range as opposed to maybe just the 5 to 10 meter range. So as an MW2 sub, it's about as good as it gets. Now, MW2 rifles actually have quite a few contenders in the overall meta conversation right now, including the FR Avancer, built more so for some sniper support, some mid-range primarily. It's usable over long range, but its TTK does start to drop off a little bit there some, whereas in the close range and the mid range, it does really thrive. Unfortunately, there is still the whole thing going on where a lot of MW2 attachments just aren't that helpful. They end up hurting, pretty important parts of a class setup, whether it be firing aim stability or aiming idle sway, stuff like that. So we're kind of limited with how we can build this out. I do end up going for a basic 60 round extended mag. You can try 45 if you want a slightly speedier build, but just keep in mind, this thing's got a decent fire rate, so you'll be reloading a lot more with just 45 on there. Ruin heavy support I feel like is somewhat necessary here, especially for the aiming idle sway and firing aim stability benefits that it offers. Spirit fire suppressor, pretty basic for any mid-range based gun. You could also swap this out though for a Cassis break or even a ZEM35 if you wanted more control based here rather than staying off the map and increasing that range a little bit. Totally up to how you want the gun to perform there. 435 barrel helps out with control, general velocity as well. And then like I said, MW2 attachments are just super limiting. I like the iron sights on this thing a lot, but if I wanted to drop the glassless and use something like a stock, well, this hurts aiming idle sway and this one hurts recoil control. I don't really need to speed it up all that much, but maybe this would be an option if you're really focusing on pushing the close range more. The combs, not all that great, hurting aiming idle sway across the board, or they're not really all that important. Rear grip, again, if you want better control, hurting aiming idle sway, or you're going to end up hurting control with some better movement there. So to me, it's just kind of like, all right, I have a 5th attachment. I could use a laser if I wanted to, or I could use an optic, so I'll just go for that, I guess. By the way, as we are going through all the weapons here today, if you enjoy the video or if you find it helpful, do me a favor, drop a like on the video itself. And if you're new to the channel, you want to guarantee that every day you're up to date with all things going on in COD, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. Next up here, we've got the STB556. We've talked about this one a handful of times in the past because it's actually a really competitive rifle. It's just severely limited by its ammo capacity. Its TTK is phenomenal, really at all ranges, but having 42 rounds on a weapon that fires decently quick is just unfortunate. It means you're stopping mid gunfight a lot to reload. Maybe you knock the first player, the second one is super low health, you have to stop to reload. So that is a drawback here. That's really why it's not number 1 on this list, but it is sufficient, and especially if you're like a solos or a duos player, this is a really good option. 2.5 times eagle eye optic here, pretty standard per usual with that. The rear guard barrel just helps out with velocity and range. It's already a very easy weapon to use, so it's not a huge deal that we don't get control here. Plus, Bruen heavy support's going to offer up some control and some aiming idle sway, some firing aim stability. And then I like to go for Cassis Break as well. If you wanted slightly better velocity, you could jump up to the Spirit Fire Suppressor. That'd be an option too, but either or here is going to work well for the mid to long range engagements. Straightforward weapon, quick TTK. Only real downside, like I said, is that mag capacity. Otherwise, this is a phenomenal rifle. Following that, I've got the TR-76 Geist, especially for like resurgence style gameplay. This is a great rifle choice too. Relatively easy to use yet again, and its close to mid-range TTK is insane. Whether you're using it for sniper support or just more like a well-rounded rifle build here for really any type of engagement, some maybe close, some maybe mid, some maybe far, it's going to be checking all the boxes here. It's really surprising just how reliable the Geist is really across the board. It has seen some buffs over a couple of updates, so of course that's nice there. Initially here, again, I'm going for the Spirit Fire Suppressor. If you wanted to go for a more close range or mid-range base build, ZEM35 Compensator would be a good choice too. I like the Bridle heavy barrel on here, extends that range out a decent amount for sure. Ups that velo, gives us even better control as well. Bruen heavy support grip, yet again, if you wanted to use something like F-Tac angled, maybe minimize your mobility cons there, that'd be a viable option too. The 45 round mag Cinemag is the max here, but unlike the STB, the fire rate does not go crazy in this case. So 45 is going to be a little bit more sufficient for even trios and quads style gameplay. And then lastly, whatever optic you're the most comfortable with. The Elo sight's good here, glassless, a NIDAR, a slate, a 2.5 times even. You can pick your poison there, and it's just going to be about comfortability. Use what you are the most accurate with for that. But yeah, the Geist is feeling phenomenal too. Hey everyone, briefly wanted to shout out my friends over at Gamer Advantage. Of course, Gamer Advantage is no stranger here on the channel. I'm rocking my Horizon frames in every single face cam video here on the channel because truly they are game changers. I sleep better because of them. My eye strain's not as bad when I'm wearing them, and honestly, even on days where I'm not just gaming, I'm editing, I'm doing other side work, when I'm looking at screens for long periods of time, these are by far the most important part of my day-to-day setup. So if you are looking at screens all day long, you're doing work, you're doing school, you're gaming, do yourself a favor, pick up a pair of Gamer Advantage glasses. They got a little bit of something for everyone. Plenty of different frame options in different colorways. They also offer support for any type of prescription lenses you may need. And if you throw in code Immortal at checkout, you'll get a pretty nice discount. Link for that will be down in the description below. And then lastly, I got the RAPP. We've talked about this thing again a couple of times in the past, and its TTK is absurd in the mid to long range. It's actually outgunning in terms of just pure TTK a lot of the main meta MW3 LMGs, which is very impressive. Now, it's a lot slower than all the other MW3 LMGs and whatnot. So while its TTK is superior, other elements of it are not. So it is kind of a trade-off there, but if you got your sights up and you're accurate with this thing, it is absolutely going to melt through everyone and everything. I do go for the 2.5 times eagle eye here yet again. I also use an extended mag in this case. Usually I don't with the general LMGs just because you don't need them, but in this case the fire rate's so fast and the reload is so slow, I want to make sure I'm reloading as little as possible, so that's going to help out there some. We got the high grain rounds on here, just better velocity, better range on there too. Hurts the control a little bit, but that's not a huge deal because we do have Bruen heavy support on here. Then I also go for Cassis Break. Our base velo is now going to be 966, which is plenty sufficient for mid to long range there, and this makes it obviously a lot easier to use. So the RAPP is a pretty pinpoint accurate LMG that also just completely fries the opposition. And that being said, those are the top 5 best MW2 meta weapons here in Warzone right now. That's gonna wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it, and if you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.